anything, raise your virtual hand, and if not, we'll just go off on something, I guess. If no one puts their hand up, I was just talking to somebody, and by him sharing what he was sharing, some stuff came to me about how most cases in this life, whatever I meet it on my terms, the my that I'm not, without knowing it, obviously. And therefore, everything that would become possible was based on my condition. Yeah. So maybe I have to get clearer or get more purified or whatever it was. But basically, everything I met, I seemed to be the dominant part of it. And that which I met, let's say peace and serenity and awakening, was based on my condition, really. I'd have to go through some kind of shifting condition or find a new condition or something like that. And when I ran into this message and the downloading of this message, I remember younger when I was first starting to do talks in AA around 91. I had a commitment for every Monday night in this place called the Dry Dock on Greenwich and Fillmore in San Francisco. And if I was in the country for like 16 years, I would be there on Monday night. And obviously, I accumulated a lot of Monday nights, and I was in a lot of different conditions, physically, financially, relationship-wise, circumstantial, all like that. And every time I'd go there, there was a seat assignment. I was there to let something come through. And no matter what my condition was in, its condition was the same. It would just come through. And it was very clear after experiencing it for quite a while that, in a sense, when I meet this condition of the I am, let's say, or that we are what we're looking for, my condition has no relevance, actually, in regards to that condition. Yeah, which was unusual, because usually I made whatever that condition, I didn't make, but the head would make whatever that condition was determined by my conditions. Yes. Yeah, it was a trip. And I didn't know any better, because that's the way it's always seemingly been from the program. And then I met this message and stuff, and it was different, quite different, because this message outshined my circumstances and situations. Yes. It just, and it became readily available at all times, right where I was. Not that it became that, it was that. And what had to change wasn't my conditions. It was just the position. Yes. In other words, my conditions were a secondary position to these conditions of I amness, whatever, you are what you're looking for, being ourselves reality. And on a large level, my condition has nothing to do with this condition. And it was incredible, because this condition has proven to be quite more reliable than these conditions. Yes, these conditions, you try your best, and you work 3 weeks, and you've ate perfectly, and you've spent $3,000, and you're in a controlled environment. No one can get in touch with you. You're eating great food, 13 hours of meditation and walking meditation. And all of these requirements necessary to get my condition in the right condition, to have a sense of the condition, which to me, in hindsight now, makes it seem so fucking absurd. And it used to blow my mind when I was at one retreat center where we used to call it the Upper Middle Way in Marin. Very, very well-off place. Great meditation hall. I mean, beautiful. Eagle claw bathtubs in the rooms. It was fantastic. Great food. And I was there, and this one wasn't a set retreat. There was people that had been there for a couple months, and then some people were coming after you. But I was there for, let's say, 2 weeks. Yeah. And it was the routine of like 6 hours sitting, 7 hours. I would do Tai Chi and shit. And after the whole event, when I was leaving, they brought me into a room and they were warning me. They go, "How are you going to get home today, Paul?" I said, "I'm going to drive." They say, "Stay away from the freeway. Don't go on the freeway. And do you have a radio in your car? Don't put on any heavy metal music. Or when you get home, don't do." It was just like, what did you give me? Like the 1,000-year-old egg that can crack at any moment? I mean, what's the thing? Because the condition was so conditioned, it was in a precarious condition. Yes, because it was completely reliant on my condition. Now, that's insane. Yeah, when I'm saying the condition, I mean truth, whatever, awareness. So when awareness becomes completely based on my condition, it's going to seem like it comes and goes. It's going to seem like it's unpure and pure. It's going to see a lot of ways from my condition. Yeah. So the only way I can know its condition is through my condition. This is why it's not working. Yeah. Because we're worried about losing something we can't lose. We're on a hunt to find something we can't be far from. Yes, it's just, and the application from where we're sitting onto whatever we meet, you've got to see it. It's just a mechanical, habitual thing. Yeah. And so when I heard this message, it was like an unspoken yes that has been yesing ever since. Now, I could practice chanting for the rest of my life, and there'd be interruptions of the chanting yes. There would be. Something would grab my attention, something would do this, I would look that way, and then the chain of years of chanting yes every second would be broken. But this unspoken yes is more a reverberation. It's not me doing it. Yeah, it's a hearing of it. Yeah, so there is an unspoken yes that goes on and on and on. There is that note that never becomes a non-note. Yes, it's not based on me trying to note. It's not based on me trying to keep up with that thing that's everywhere at all times. It doesn't work. Yeah. So it's a losing interest in me. And you can't imagine when you're full of interest, or when the head is full of interest in itself, it can't imagine being less interested. It just can't. It doesn't work. But when there's a loss of interest, I'm not saying there's anyone that's losing it or gaining. I'm just saying there's a loss of interest. I don't feel it comes from anywhere. There's just a loss of interest. A loss of interest, and the attention gets shifted. Just like if your whole life, you're always, when you're walking into a space, you're just attending to the things in the space. Yeah. And then what would happen that one day the space that those things were in were more interesting? Yeah. That would be cool, right? You're in, you don't know any better. You walk in everything and you see everything in the room, but you don't see the space. You don't sense the space of the room. Now, what happens is, I feel this message triggers another aspect where you walk in the room, the things are noticed, but not at the expense of the space. Yeah. The space is felt no matter how little things or how much things are in it. It's felt. and there's noticing of the things, but it's not, the noticing of the things is not at the expense of the sense of the space. Yes? Who would have ever thought that could happen? The way this head works was it's either this or that. It's either the things or the space or the things. But no, it's just a shift of things, yes, but like an emphasis on space. Yeah? And then you realize the one constant is space, and a lot of the things come and go. Yeah. They show up in different sizes with different amounts. They last some longer than others, but the space remains the same. What was that thing? The song remains the same. Well, the space remains the same. Yeah. So this stuff, you can't, how are you going to practice that? Yes. Especially as a thing. Yeah. If you're practicing without questioning this thing, if this thing tries to practice seeing only the space, it's still going to be referred to as a thing seeing only the space. You see, the thing is going to outride it always. But when you lose interest in this thing, then the interest in things can shift, where you start picking up. It's sort of like, sometimes when you're just walking around, and I don't know where it comes from, but the frequency of the moment changes, and you get a little, maybe from the government, or probably there's conspiracy theories around it, but you do it, and it doesn't last long. It's like, and you try to follow it as long as possible, but it fades back into the noise, so to speak. Yeah. Now you didn't, it just showed up. It was like you were just, you had this, and then something, yeah. So this is sort of like what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Once you get a sense of it, a curiosity or an attention can get triggered. And now you're picking up a lot more than you used to pick up. Not by trying to pick up more. Yeah. There's not trying to pick up more, but you're picking up more. Yeah. And so, and then the notes, the frequency, there's never not a frequency. There's always like a sound going off. Yeah. Now, there's frequencies that appear in that big, huge frequency, and they come and go, but their coming and going emphasizes the alwaysness of the frequency. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. If you were only in the allness of the frequency, you wouldn't be able to know it, in a sense. And this is why negation really works, because obviously it didn't work singing the positive praises of what we are. We're all this, we're all that. And we just living in a state of, I don't think so, all day. But the description is, it sounds good, but it just doesn't get any gravity. It doesn't get anything. Yeah. But when, instead of trying to work on that, negate it, in a sense. Yeah. Because working on it isn't negating its importance. It's reinforcing its importance. As warned by Ramana Maharshi, I feel. I'm giving it my own meaning, but when he says that there is a non-existent thing, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing being an existing thing. Yeah. And then wanting to get salvation for the existent thing, which is really the non-existent thing. Then it says right next to, after that, it says your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? You see? So in a sense, without knowing it, the thing is constantly reinforcing itself. Yeah. So by the negation of that thing, it breaks that sort of bondage or that link. And therefore, there's a loss of interest in it. It doesn't have any direction where the interest is going to go or what you're going to gain interest in. It's just a negation of one, not an affirming of another. See, it doesn't fall into a dualistic thing. It's just negating one thing, and then you find out the rest. Yeah. Because, and why would anyone want to describe what the effects of the indescribable are going to be? I'd just rather find out. It's much more revelatory. Yeah. Because if someone gives a description of what happened, let's say in their event, it may not fit how it's going to pan out where you are. Yeah. So you might as well just leave it open and just, all right, maybe, just maybe, oh yeah, there goes the thing reacting and the thing reacting to the thing reacting, and maybe you're neither of them. What? Yeah. See what happens. Suddenly, the interest and the attention, sort of like you thought the camera was in a fixed location. Suddenly, it starts moving. Yeah, and then, and when it pulls away from the thing, it doesn't. You don't become blind to the thing. It just gets into a right proportion, and it opens up into a panoramic. So the thing isn't like denied or killed or anything. It's just underemphasized for a while. Yeah. And then there's an emphasis, almost like a newfounded emphasis that sort of, in my sense, produces a traveling lighter, because I think we're really top heavy in the thing world. Yeah. We're really, really absorbed in thingdom, let's say. The thingdom is not of heaven. We're in this thingdom, and it's not a non-thingdom, but it just brings a proportional effect. And I feel like you'll sense it by coming to satsang sooner or later. And we give it a loose terminology called traveling lighter as the experience of the action figure. It's not you traveling lighter, it's traveling lighter. We don't go you traveling lighter, because how could light travel any lighter than light? Yeah, so no, it's traveling lighter, really, in the experience of what you're not, tell you the truth, in a sense. Yeah. We've tried to travel lighter as what we are, it got heavy, yeah. Every beautiful message that was supposed to bring about relief and release is another way of torturing yourself because of your inadequacy to change your conditions to meet that condition. That condition doesn't need you to change shit. Yeah. And if you did, you would change all the wrong things. Your head would still be the primary fucking situation. So, yeah, and we're here just to support this little migration of interest and attention. And you may not know it, but I can see the birds flying over your head, the birds of interest and attention migrating. They're not sitting, they're not nesting, they're not sitting on your egg for a year to hatch some fucking crazy idea. They're migrating. It's great. I can see it on your virtual background. There's little hands flying away. Yeah. And then just see what happens. And then see, did you do anything? No. What? You came to a zoo. What the hell? You don't even have to clothe yourself completely. You can be naked from the waist down with the camera. You're not going through any inclement weather to get here, or climbing a mountain, or entering a cold cave. It's in your fucking house or wherever. It's like, I mean, how you couldn't be catered this message better or gourmet this message better. I mean, it's like at those restaurants where they cook the food right where you are. You don't even have to get up. They just serve you giant slabs of meat. It's cooking. But here you are. Yeah. But I believe there needs to be martyrdom and sacrifice and fucking lots of sweat and discomfort and giving up things I love. And of course, everything that I love is an obstacle to this. It's just, to me, is insane. Yeah. First of all, Do you believe this or get a sense of this place as dreaming? Yeah, it's a good way of picturing it. And it seems if we're having a subjective experience, in other words, we give everything the meaning it has, that means it doesn't have a meaning. So if something was real, it would impose its reality on you. But this place, I don't believe is real. It's appearing real, but it's dreaming, yeah? And we're having subjective experiences. And how do people explain, you buy this pill for $300 or you take a salt pill like a placebo, and they both have the same amount of efficacy, the placebo and the $300 pill. I mean, obviously, this is dreaming. Yeah. You dream the importance of a pill and it's worth $300, and then you dream, yeah, you don't need shit really. So this meaning giver, and if we seem to be the meaning giver, there's a need to lose meaning in that. Yes. We need to lose a little meaning in the meaning giver. Yeah. And that's interest and attention. And maybe the meanings that are being given to things won't make those things as real as they used to seem to be. Yes? Yeah. So, all right. Who's running the show today? Mike?
Yes.
Mike is the birthday boy. We have Nor here, another birthday boy.
It's passed already.
It doesn't matter. Not in my eyes. It's a month-long celebration.
You've already sung the song, so
It's the month of Zerbal. All right. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
I'll mention that I like instead of using the police and the thief today, you said the thing and the thing.
The thingdom. uh, you see that can any object override the subjective experience? The worst trauma will not produce the same effects for different people who have suffered that trauma. It won't, yeah? The worst news ever will be good news to some in a certain time. So the subjective always overrides the objective because there is no objective. It's all subjective. It's dreaming, yes. I'm gonna change every object in this world. I would just question this object that's masquerading as a subject. Yeah. But all right. None of you know that only about 10 feet away from me on my right side is a giant sea of biscotti, freshly made. Yes? More than 100 slices, ready to be dipped in oat milk, a latte, organic milk, vitamin D milk. It's just waiting for me. Us. No, me.
Can you please give us a view of that?
I don't want to set off any desires
Uh,
that will not be fulfilled. No matter how many times you'd ask, you're not getting any from me. No compassion.
how about if I ask Amelia?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's
I'm here.
that's where every wise person goes. They
Come
go to
on, show us
Amelia.
the biscottis.
You realize she's the gatekeeper. Yes,
She's sitting between you and the Nosh. Yeah, I see it.
she's right there. She's no one calls me anymore. They call Amelia. Yeah.
Camila answers, actually.
Yeah, Amelia answers. All right. Well, anyone? You got the drift, don't you? When we're speaking? Yeah. In the Course in Miracles, they talked about projection and perception. So projection, so mind's projecting, and then the idea of being the dreamt perceives it as real. Yeah. But there's the dreaming, and then from the dreamt eyes, the dreaming seems real because the dreamt seems real. Yes. Just like when that guy I knew when I was young, Uncle Fred, passed away, and I saw his dead body in the casket, and I had a very strong hit. That wasn't Uncle Fred. Why was I thinking Uncle Fred was the body? Because I was seeing everyone as from Paul as a body. Yes. So there was something going on. That was projection. I perceived everyone just the same way. And so even when I got that whack about Uncle Fred, it wasn't applied to Paul at that time. Yes? The stubbornness of the delusion. Yeah. Yeah. But there's so much, everything reveals so much if you just wait a while. Yeah. If you don't just close the case or shut the book, if you keep it open, something's going to come with it. Something's going to come out of it. And more is going to be revealed. And there is points where you are convinced. Yeah. Convinced means to believe with certainty. Yeah. And there will be a certainty in the belief in being ourselves reality. Not a certainty of what that looks like or what it is, but a certainty, a sense feltness of conviction. It doesn't need support. It's just like that unspoken yes, or the last answer, however you like to cryptically express it. But there'll be a knowing before knowing. Yeah, there'll just be a knowing that's never been touched by any unknowing. There's a knowing before all the knowing. Yeah. And it reverberates. And when something that's thrown your way and it's so beautiful misses you and hits the bell and it clangs, that recognition is undeniable. It will just resonate. Yeah. Some people will have it only for a minute or two and as an aha. Some people it may last longer, but come here and that bell's rung in satsang. Yeah. And becoming familiar with that ring, it's like the greatest GPS because it always tells you, no matter how far you've gone, upon having never left. Yeah. It sinks in. You know, like when your grandma, when you were growing up, she would just love you. She didn't even have to say she loved you. She loved you so much, you were sure of that. It was never in question. You never doubted it. You didn't, you know, she was like always this to you, to me, she was always the same, just loving. Yeah. No matter what. Yeah. And then the thinking wasn't necessary. You just jumped in it. Yeah. And you felt like an assurance or an umbrella as this action figure. And you felt a lot of well-being. You didn't even have to know it. It was just more felt, and you lived from there. What do you these things are only like crude mimicking of the reliance in I am, yes? That sense of that which never comes or goes, that which is always available at all times, right where you are, no matter where your head thinks you are, right where you are. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right.
You got Andy, sorry.
Andy.
Hey, Paul. Yeah, when you were in the beginning, you were talking about how what we're not is, just obsessed with the objects in the space, and focused on those things. And it reminded me, I went to art school, and we were trained, in like drawing one or drawing two or whatever like that, where they were trying to get us out of our left brain and into our right brain. And basically, and they even call it like negative space. Like you're not drawing the objects in the picture, you're drawing the space around the picture. And it's really awesome. I've often equated that, that artistic way of just like looking at life, as being non-dualistic, and even calling it negative space. I think that's really cool,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's obviously you are of it, so it's not difficult to entertain it. Yeah. The difficulty, I mean, there's so much work that goes into being what we're not. It's just a lot of fucking work. You know, and none of it can change the fact we are awake. Not we as an individual entity, but as our basis are awake. And here in this dreaming, you can seem to be awake to that. In other words, it's appearing to be true to you that you're awake, or it's appearing to be true to you that you're not awake. But it doesn't make the truth of the fact be any different. We're awake. That's the basis. Yeah. And of course, the only in this dreaming, there's an overemphasis. And when there's an overemphasis, it's not in a panoramic way, it's in a dualistic way. When something is overemphasized, other things are less emphasized. Yeah. So there's always going to be the emphasis at the expense of something else. It's not a win-win situation. So that thing with art and stuff like that, just like Japanese art, when you see, or Chinese art, they draw something to emphasize the space around the tree and shit. Yeah. Not to fill the space up with the tree, but to emphasize the space. And this is just a different way of seeing, but it's a way of seeing, and we are the seeing. So we could be possibly open to any way of seeing. Yeah. Because we have the basis of every way of seeing, which is seeing. That's where we have that, the essential quality of any way of seeing is seeing, and we have it, we are it, so to speak. We don't have it, we are it. So obviously you may have gotten into a habitual way of seeing things, and that way of seeing things, let's call it self-centered, is a jealous way of seeing things, and it doesn't like you to have any other possibility but to see every other way of seeing through self-centered seeing. But there are, just like there's a large spectrum of radio stations, there's not just one playing. Yeah. You may be only listening to one, but there's a lot more playing. Yes. Yeah. And so this is where the emphasis or the interest and attention's power is. If the interest and attention is being sucked up into that one radio station at such a degree that there's no idea that there are any other radio stations, yes, except the ones that play in or from the big radio station, yeah, that exclusivity, that ignoring or denying or not noticing is based on extreme interest and attention, obviously. It's just going way up that idea at the expense of all these others. So when you lose interest, it opens up a whole lot. Yeah, a whole lot without trying to open anything up. Just the loss of interest, just like they'd say in Dukshen, relaxed awareness, dispersed awareness, not concentrated, not focused, but dispersed. You see a whole lot more of seeing that way. You may not see a whole lot more of seeing things that way, maybe laser focus, but seeing is, you get more of the quality of seeing through dispersing than in surgically laser-like shit, yes? You feel more of the sense of the presence of seeing by a vagueness and a panoramicness, yes? Or like the empty part of the canvas. Yeah. A whole lot more, I think, is revealed there. So, yeah, this is a simple thing. We are just enjoying the luxury of riffing about this, but it's really based on a loss of interest. And to have the message of there's a mechanical claiming of right now that there's a you called Andy or a you called Paul that's hearing the message. Yes. Completely attempting to apply self-centered looking onto this message of seeing. Yeah. And you're not choosing to do it. You never did it. It's mechanical. So knowing that, you recognize it from the seeing. Yeah. Not from the looking, but from the seeing. Yeah. Yeah. It goes a long way.
The software has its limitations.
Oh, completely. And it's not AI. It's not program. And it will, one thing I know for a fact, because addiction took me there for years, that this self-centered idea cannot get out of the self-centered idea. Yet it will not stop trying. It never learns to stop trying to get out of self as self. It never did in my case.
Yeah.
It would just change drugs or change this or change that, or change different ways of taking the drug or the setting, but it would not give fucking up. Yeah. And I don't believe it has the capacity to do so. So you see the mechanicalness of it, take out this sense of guilt and shame or choice that may be lingering in there, and just be very, very clear, this is going on without your consent or without your naying or yaying. It just does it. Now, what it can do with it has a lot to do with us. And this is why it's important to put this warning out along with the message, because the lion may get it's a lion, but it probably will, the head's going to arise again as a sheep and tell a story about being a lion as an experience of a sheep. It's just going to do it. Don't be surprised by it. And then now you don't need to be fooled by it, because you've heard an explanation of it. I think it's a clear one. And it should go along with you through your day. So when you see something happen, and then you'll see the uninvited guest show up and claim to be the one, and then you'll see what difference it makes. Yeah. And all the while, you haven't engaged with it, you're seeing it. And that bridge to looking from it isn't walked over, and you see the emperor with no clothes. You do. You start seeing this manufactured state that had such a sense of personal, unique terminalness, which it isn't. It's just a manufactured place. Yeah. You're not going to live without it, but you're going to live with it. Yeah. It's going to appear, but it's going to appear almost on a different frequency. Yeah. It's going to be like a Zoom while you're in another Zoom. Yeah. And it's in time, so it's lagging. Yeah. So you're in the moment and you're sensing the moment, and then it describes what it was like to be in the moment a second later. And then you start recognizing it. Jesus Christ, this thing is off. Yeah. It's a reaction to something that already happened. It can't be there. It can't be there. It's incredible. So yeah, there's a lot. It's going to show itself unbelievably. You won't want to see it if you think it's you. You won't. You've had enough. You don't. You just want to fucking get on with shit. Let me have my fourth drink. Give me a break. I want an extra slice of pizza. I just don't want to see this shit. But now you're not that. So then there can be a fearless and thorough little inventory on it. Yes. A momentary one, which accumulates into I'm not that. That's all. That's a simple wand that's waved, really. It's not making you into something else. It's just wands, I'm not that. That's all. That's the magic trick. That's the antidote to the magic trick. I'm not that. Instead of I'm not hoping I'm not that. No, I'm not that becoming I'm not that. No, you're not that. It's that simple. Yeah. As soon as it tries to reconstrue it into something, the wand comes out. You don't say anything really, but the movement is I'm not that. Yeah. Fantastic. Negation is the way. The negation is the way to no way. Really. You don't, your speedometer hasn't added a half of a mile and your clock hasn't moved a second. Yeah. You've never been anywhere but here. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. I went somewhere. Where are you now? Here? But it's a different here, really? No, I don't know. It seems to be the same here with a lot of different places. So whatever. I'm a happy camper today. I have people who I like or love to some degree right here. And all right. All right, Mike. Anyone else?
Not that I see. Nope.
All right. Well, we'll end soon then, eh? This doesn't really have anything to do with more. You realize that. More satsang doesn't do it.
You got a hand for, got two hands now.
Yeah. Oh,
You got more hands.
I was threatened to leave. All right, Mike M.
Brian had his up first, if that
All right,
matters.
Brian. Bring in Brian.
Okay, I just you triggered something that I recalled from teaching from Nisargadatta that said yeah, that I've been bringing up over and over. He said think of yourself as a shower of sparks, each spark lasting only a second and the whole entire shower lasting only a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nisargadatta's got a bag full of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Got some nuggets. Yeah.
Oh.
That I am that was some powerful mojo. I went to where he lived. I was in the room where he gave satsang. Not in a live satsang. He had passed away at that time. But this Indian guy, Murdy, took me. I met his family and stuff. It was pretty cool. All right. Anyone else? Oh, we have Mike. Who else? Mike?
Hey, Paul, thanks as always. You said something interesting about this yes, this constant yes, which I just find that really interesting because I think that I had the opposite of that going, like a silent no, basically, like that I couldn't stop or control. And I really see that as the condition, man, that I could not get through that. I mean, the steps obviously help, but there was still an attachment to this no, like no, nope, no. And that yes is way more understandable now based on not being totally blocked from doing this work. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really understood that tonight more than I've understood that there's just like a yes, a flowing of yes, 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 yes.
Well, remember one of the big attributes of addiction is defiance. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And the defiance, yes. I remember I got arrested in North Beach in San Fran. I didn't have any money, and I got in a cab, and I was just going to explain I didn't have any money. The guy didn't like that, so he drove me to the police station, and I got arrested. So I was pretty pissed because I was just trying to go home, and I started talking back to the cops very defiantly, but I wasn't in a power position whatsoever. Got my ribs broken. Yes, that was a misspent defiance.
Been there, definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, defiance could only go so far. Yeah, that's what it was like. Yeah. Who
That's
knows?
great.
It may take life may have to break your back, or you'll hear it in one satsang. Who knows?
Yeah.
But whatever has to happen for something to seem to happen, it's got its value. So
Yeah.
defiance broken is surrender, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says the educational variety in that spiritual experience in the back, and I think that's where it's really been for me, like a slow trickle into the matrix with all this,
Yeah, well, that's fine, because the thing is, if there is no race and there is no end of the race, then who cares about your time so much? Yeah. You're not looking to run the first 3-minute mile. Miles don't mean shit. I use this example really simply with time. Let's say last night you were sleeping, dreaming, and then you dreamt of having a big Slurpee, and you had one of those big straws, and you just remember a 5-second pull of a Slurpee. And then you woke up, yeah, the next morning. And then the next night you dream of a 300-year opus, yeah, where you're not only incarnating, you're reincarnating. You've had like 6 or 7 lives, and it's very, flamboyant, Cecil B. DeMille type production, 300 years. And you woke up as with the same amount of time it took to wake up from the 5-second dream. Time only means anything in the dreaming of time. Yeah. When you wake up, it doesn't matter how. A 300-year dream, if you believe time had value, would maybe demand a 2-month waking up. But no, you fucking wake up like you did at the 5-second dream, because time is not a reality. Only in this reality we're dreaming. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of value, but in such a large amount of space, it's valueless. Yes. In this experience, there's value in certain things, but it's like when I love to, it always brings me back to these examples, but I was in Nepal once, and we were trying to get back to Indonesia. And it's an interesting little story. And my girlfriend at the time, had met some people, guys, and she came back to the guest house with them, and they told her about this trip on Buddha Airlines during the day that would fly us over the Himalayas. And she really wanted to see the Himalayas, and it cost $100 each. Yeah. And so, and we had an international flight back to Indonesia, and I didn't want to miss that flight, but she really wanted to go. So we signed up and we went to this domestic airport, and we went on this Buddha Airlines. We never took off from the tarmac. The whole airport lost power, and we were just sitting there on Buddha Airlines. And then they said, does anyone want to get back to the terminal? I go, yes. So they brought us a car. She stayed on. She did. I brought me a car, and I went back to the terminal, and I went I was the first person to the desk, and I asked for my money back, and they go, yeah. And they gave me $100 worth of Nepali money, which doesn't have any value anywhere else other than Nepal. Yeah, so I'm saying, I'm not taking this money. I want the $100, American money. And they go, we don't have it. I said, I'm not leaving until you give me that money. It was just, so they had to get it from their center travel agency in Kathmandu. They had to drive. I got my girlfriend to the international thing to try to wait for me. And they came up in a white van. They met me, they opened the door, I jumped in, and they gave me an white envelope with $100, and drove me to the international. But it had no value, Nepali money. Well, this is the thing. These things that seem so important to us will have absolutely no value tonight when you go to sleep. All of these things that are imposing seemingly their value on us is relinquished as soon as we go to sleep. Yeah. So what would happen if you wake up out of this dream and you have Nepali money? Yeah. You'll see it having no value. Yeah. And you won't go back and try to get any other money. You'll see that nothing has the value you think it has. It has the value because of the setting. The setting changes, the value shifts. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, all right. I'm going to say goodbye, I think. Mike M., thank you. Thanks for checking in, Mike. I'm always happy to talk to you every week. And the same thing with
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Maybe the value of seeing what you're not. That's what we were doing earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, always a pleasure. Andy, thank you for this lovely invitation. We're going to take you up on it somehow.
I gave Michael my contact, so
He'll send it to me. Thank you. Yeah.
cool.
Harry, as always, nice to see you. William Stamps. We got, I don't know this. Oh, we got Smitty here. Kathleen, yes. We got Mike G. We got Sherry. What's this? I got this out of here. Kenneth, Bill Churchman. I've got this big thing up here that I can't.
Got muted, Paul.
I see you, Anu. You were blocked. Something was there. And the first thing I saw when the block was removed was Anu. Ah. Brian W., Susan H. Nice to see you. Samuel Eban. Nice to see you, Samuel. Lisa. As always, Al in Vegas. Oh, he
The
came
baked
up
goods.
tonight.
The baked goods, Paul. Quit skirting the subject.
I don't see Al very much at night. Here he is. Oh.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. Good to see you too, man.
Maro. I hope I said it right. Shannon Corkery. Harry. Oh, Harry. How are you doing? Call us up and tell us, let us live vicariously through your story. Yeah? All right. Cindy H. Nice to see you, Cindy. Bill Churchman. Kenneth in Vancouver. Ram Charam. I think he's in New York somewhere. Yes?
I'm in Palm Springs for a few
Oh,
months.
Palm Springs. Wow, that's nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Susanna W. Dennis W. Let's see. Who else? Let's go to the next one. Phone numbers: Anand, Sindhu, Lynn D. Oh, Lynn, nice to drop in. Thank you. Fletch, as always. Miss Amelia, Dennis, Mia, Nor, Lola. Hey, thank you, everyone. Oh, here she is. Lola, come here. Lola, Lola, come here. Come here. Say hello to everyone. Oh, there she goes. She's taking a tour. There she goes again. All right, see you guys so much. Thank you. We'll be here tomorrow, recovery. And if you're interested, all the talks are put up on the event page of the website. It's the same Zoom link with no password. So yeah, just if you want to know what's going on, it's on the event page of zenbitchlap.com. Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen, everybody. See you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.